Hello, 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 filter-free America listeners. We are back, and I am late, apparently. Yes, not apparently, it is. It's a fact. It's an actual reality. I am late, and I must apologize. I'm behind. When I set out to redo Filter-Free America, I'm like, you know what? We're gonna go out guns a-blazing. We're going to do 2 episodes a week. I'm going to be able to do it. I know I've got a job. I know I've got other comedy obligations. I know I've got to, keep working on my health and my fitness and all that stuff. I know I'm going to have time. Everything's going to be fine. Not these last weeks. Here's the deal, guys. Sorry. I did not get a episode up last Thursday, and I'm late on this episode for Tuesday this week, and there may only be 1 episode this week. So this may be this episode you're hearing right now may be this week's only episode. So heads up about that. I apologize. Just got a new computer here. I got some new tech going on here in the home studio that I'm trying to learn how to master. And as you regular listeners know, I'm an idiot. So my learning curve is very steep. It takes time to do that. But trust me, it's going to benefit the show in the end. It's going to make things much more efficient and make me a lot more independent and going to be better for the show overall. Let's just say that, make it a little bit easier. So again, I apologize. So hopefully, I'm trying to get a bunch of shows recorded here coming up this week and the next week. So hopefully next week I'll be back on 2 a week. If not, it's going to be at least 1 next week. But after that, then I should have enough episodes, kind of banked in reserve. That way, again, if I have any technical issues or whatever, again, that I'll have issues or episodes already pre-recorded, and then that way you don't have to wait. There'll be 2 episodes a week, regardless, no matter what. So that way, worst case scenario, what's worst case scenario? I get abducted by an alien, right? And I don't know why an alien would choose to abduct me. Maybe they think that I am the perfect example of what a common human being, Homo sapien, is on this planet. Trust me, I'm the most common you can find. They want to abduct me for a week, whatever. They want to study me. They want to probe me. They want to put things in my ears, my mouth, my nose, my anus, whatever. Fine, they can do that because I'll have all these episodes pre-recorded, right? And then I'll just have my assistant that I don't have hired yet. I'll have to hire an assistant to make this plan work, but whatever. I'll hire them, and then they'll just load up the episodes. And they'll be like, well, fuck, Joey's abducted. I guess we just need to load these episodes that he's got pre-recorded. Boom, boom, until he comes back. And then we come back and we go back to recording them. And, of course, I'll record an episode about my abduction. And then it's a win-win for everybody. See? Got it all planned out. Long story short, I apologize. I'm trying to make things happen here. But, understand I do work a full-time job. Do also, have to go to the gym 4 days a week. Do also have to do comedy. I got paid to do comedy again. That's been a while. I haven't done that in a while. I got paid to do some comedy last couple weekends. So that was also a time suck too. So, I apologize. I'm not trying to make excuses. I am. You hate it when somebody does that, when they say, I'm not trying to make excuses, but here's my excuses, right? And that's exactly what I just did, but whatever. I hope to make up for it, and I hope in the long run the show is going to benefit. Whatever. Speaking of show benefiting, let's talk about the sponsor. Don't forget, we have a wonderful sponsor that helps make this show happen. That sponsor is, of course, the one, the only Simple Website. SimpleWebsite.us. 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 What is SimpleWebsite.us, you're probably asking? Well, if you've been a regular listener, you already know this. So I'm going to say it again for the people who are new here. SimpleWebsite.us is the website you go to if you're trying to build a website on Squarespace. Right? They are experts in the Squarespace building website, I guess that's what you call it. I don't know if that's a machine or whatever. They know how to use the Squarespace tools to their fullest potential, right? So if you just need a little bit of help, right, you can go there and get a little bit of help. Matter of fact, if you go to their website, simplewebsite.us, you can find some free resources, tips, video courses, free of use. You just go there, you get it. You don't have to do anything. You just say, hi, how you doing? I came here for the free stuff only. I'm going to take that, and then I'm out of here, right? Boom. Not a problem. You do that, right? If you just need a little bit of help, right? You just want to give them a few bucks. Hey, I pretty much got this figured out, but hey, I just need a little bit of support. Could you just maybe talk me through this part and this part here? Well, guess what? You can do that. You can just get a little bit of help. They've got some expert screen share support systems set up, and they can help you. Like if you get stuck on something, they can talk you through it. Boom, and you can go back and finish it on your own, right? Or if you're like me, right, and you're an idiot, and you can't figure it out on your own, and you can't do it on your own, or you don't have to be an idiot, or most of you people are very intelligent people, pretty sure, right? Maybe you're just too busy because you're a billionaire, right? And you got so much money coming in that you just you're too busy counting your money. You just rather pay somebody else to do it, or you just got other things to do, or whatever. You just pay them, and their professional design team will build you a website from the ground up right there on Squarespace, and they're going to do it perfectly. They're going to use everything that Squarespace has to offer, and they're going to use it to fit your needs and all your website dreams and fantasies. They're going to fill them right there for you. So what you need to do right now, well, not right now, let's listen to the show right now, but as soon as you get done listening to this episode, then go to simplewebsite.us, simplewebsite.us. And see, this is not like any other promotion where you got to put in, just put in my secret access code, filter, and then you get no. You just go there and just check it out and use whatever. And then that's all you got to do, right? It's super easy. Just go there, whatever. If anybody asks you, hey, where'd you hear about us? You need to say Filter Free America. But if not, just going to the website alone is enough. At least that's how they got it set up for me right now. But if they ask you, then say yes, Filter Free America. Okay. Moving on. What else did we have? Anything else that I had to move on? Any housekeeping stuff? I gotta say, I talked about the late episodes. Sorry about the late episodes, man. I really feel bad about that. That was not my goal, but real life got in the way, and but I'm gonna do my best to make up for that. Let's real fast talk about the episode that we're gonna have on here. The guest today is a returning guest, and when I say returning, I mean returning from Filter Free America. The first time, back when Filter Free America was a podcast before. He was also a semi-regular guest on my radio show, Pardon the Descent, when that was on as well, too. So I had to have him back on because he is just not only an interesting individual, but somebody I definitely want to support and promote. And I definitely, I'm not hiding that fact. I want to draw attention to him and his work. I want you to know who he is. I want you to support him, and I want him to get as much help as he can, because he is doing the heavy lifting, the hard work that is independent journalism, right? And definitely, it's something that this country and journalism worldwide, I think, is lacking overall. I think if you looked at the decline of quality journalism over the last 50, 60 years. You would agree with me. The guest, his name is Sam Richards. If that name rings a bell for you, besides you being a regular listener here, it's because of this. Back in 2015, here in the Twin Cities, there was a weird occurrence going on. And what it was, there was some very strange planes that were basically just like private-looking planes, like small personal aircraft. But what was strange about them were they were making very weird flight patterns around the Twin Cities. Repeated circling of areas, whether it be around the Mall of America or certain neighborhoods in the area. Hold on, I got a burp. Excuse me, that was a real burp. No, I'm not going to edit that out. This is real life. They were flying around the Twin Cities, circling around, and it started catching people's attention, right? It's kind of weird. People were speculating left and right. Of course, people were, some people were like, oh, this is weird. Something's going on. Of course, there was other people, hey, you're just a conspiracy theorist. There's nothing weird. It's just people flying airplanes, even though they are flying that same airplane in circles multiple times around and around and around. And no, even though my brain tells me that should be weird, I'm programmed to say that that's a conspiracy theory and we shouldn't do anything about it. Whatever, okay? People were worried. People were asking questions, whatever. But lucky for us, Sam Richards, who was an aspiring journalist, working to be a journalist at the time, was also working at an airport, right? And he, being the natural, curious mind that he has, and the journalistic mind that he had, he investigated. He knew what was going on, or he knew what was going on was weird. So he started investigating the planes themselves and like looking up tail numbers and finding out where they were. And we talk about this in the episode, but I'll kind of give you just a little primer here. Finds out, guess what? Those planes were attached to like these shady fake companies. What? Right? He continued to dig. He digged deeper. Finds out that those planes that were claimed to be owned by these fake shady companies were actually owned by the FBI. Right? Yeah. So he found all this stuff out on his own, independently. That's why, independent journalist, it's in the name, bro. He found all this stuff out. He created a story about it, used the Medium website to release the story. And essentially, he was the one that broke the story nationwide. Other outlets eventually picked it up. The AP, and again, this is other stuff that we'll kind of mention here too. The AP picked up the story as well too, but of course they try to take credit for it. Let me take a drink here. Sorry, I'm taking a medication. It makes my mouth really dry. And anyway, but his story, his version of the story, was not only quoted in multiple sources here in the United States, but it was also worldwide. Like I think stories from Australia and Europe as well too. Glenn Greenwald retweeted some of his information he was posting. It was a big deal. And this kid and some of his friends who were helping him put this together did some amazing work on their own. Again, and I gotta restate this: he's independent, literally independent journalist, doing all this out of his own pocket, out of his own time. Working a job, having a life on his own, but still doing all this stuff, doing all this actual real journalism, figuring this stuff out. So we've talked about this before, again, on a previous podcast that have been lost. So I want to bring him back on to recap that and kind of keep us up to date on what's going on, because guess what? He's still researching this. He's been doing this for going on years now, right? And he's got new information that he wants to share that he's also uncovered, and it's not good news. It's actually gotten a little bit worse. So that's basically what this episode is going to be about. Also, I want to point out that I'm going to have him on as a repeated guest, because he's always in the mix as far as keeping track of the goings on as far as government and things like that too. And his interest is a lot of the same as mine as far as what's going on and shady elements of the government and corruption within law enforcement and things like that too. So we've already got the next episode planned, and trust me, it's a doozy. This right here is just kind of warming up your guys' palate for the stuff that Sam Richards is going to be bringing to the table. So every time you see him pop up on an episode, know we're going to be bringing some definitely interesting information and some actual real journalism that I'm not going to put anything on here that I don't think you guys need to know about. So I'm already want you to know that the next episode is going to be very important as well too. And I'm trying to get him into the studio hopefully here in the next week, so we can get that recorded and released as soon as possible. But this one here is just going to be a recap of the Spy Planes story, as well as the update of the new information that, again, not good news. Let's see. Oh, I want to do his social media contacts stuff and his website stuff before we kick off the episode. I'm going to do that at the beginning and the end, too. I want to make sure I make a habit of doing that for all the guests who want their stuff promoted. If you want to follow him on Twitter, and please follow him on Twitter, because he does a really good job of every time he has new information, new leads, new facts or whatever about the stories that he's working on, he'll load it up right there. Like when he's tracking some of these planes and things like that with some of the technology that he uses, he'll post screenshots and all that stuff there. So go to Twitter at Minneapolis Sam, at Minneapolis, the city, Sam, Minneapolis Sam, and that's his Twitter. Follow him there. His online, it's like basically like an online newspaper, okay, is called the North Star Post. North Star Post. The website for that is N Star Post. The letter N, Star instarpost.com. Letter N, starpost.com. Okay? That is the website where you can find all of his work, okay? That's where all his stories go, his podcasts go. He does a radio show that I think he loads as a podcast as well, too, so that's on there. Any of the work you can find, any other contacts for it, everything's going to be right there, okay? So you just if you can only go to one thing, go to instarpost.com, all right? I don't know if he's got anything on there for financial donations or not, but if there's a way to do that, and you got the ability and the financial wherewithal to do so, throw him a couple bucks too, man. Please, because I can't stress this enough. I know this kid. He is a young man. He's got a girlfriend. He's, works a job, does his thing, but he's also doing this journalistic work independently on his own. So he doesn't have people standing over him telling him what to study, what to research, what to investigate, and what to write stories about. He's doing it on his own. He's completely independent. So a lot of stuff is coming out of his pocket, and he needs support. We got to support these people. If me and you and everyone else is not going to be out there doing the investigative work ourselves, we need somebody who we can trust, who's going to do it, again, independently, without direction from wealthy media companies telling them what they can and cannot, study or report on. Okay, we need people like Sam Richards, okay? Trust me. Support this guy any way you can. If you can't support him financially, just share his content, okay? Share a link to his website. Talk about him. Spread the news about him. Help him get a bigger and better audience, okay? That is probably as helpful as throwing money at him in a lot of ways, okay? Do that as well, okay? Information is important here. Spreading this information is important, okay? When you shine light on corruption and malfeasance and things like that, that's the what do they say? The sunlight is the ultimate antiseptic, right? When you shine the light on this stuff, they got to change things up a little bit, and he's responsible for them changing. He'll talk about that as well too. He's influenced the way things have happened already just by doing the story that we're talking about right here. Again, I cannot brag on him enough. I'm proud to know him. I'm proud of the work that he's done. I look at true journalists like him, and I look up to them, and I appreciate how important they are. So I know I'm laying it on very thick right here, but I mean it absolutely. So again, at Minneapolis Sam on Twitter, at Minneapolis Sam. North Star Post is the online his online newspaper. That's instarpost.com, instarpost.com. And be careful if you look him up on Facebook, because there's a North Star Post that's a bunch of garbage, fake, not fake, but just like silly news stories. That's like goofy stuff, and they've got way more followers and likes than he does. But then there's another North Star Post that's him, okay? And it's a lot less likes on there, which should tell you about the state of the mentality of the world, that there's way more people that want to read the stories that are just goofy, retarded stuff. But whatever. Make sure if you like him on Facebook, you like the right one, okay? Thought that was weird that there was that one on there too, the exact same name, but whatever. Just go to instarpost.com, instarpost.com. I think I've said that enough already. All right, so let's get going on the episode here. You know what it's about. You know who we're going to be talking to. Now, what do we need? What do we need every single time? That's right, we need a name for the episode. And this is going to be an easy one, okay? Because what he investigated the spy planes flying over the Twin Cities, as well as different parts of the nation. This didn't just happen here. He found out. You'll find that out in the episode as well too. So I need a name that reflects that. Okay, so he did that. He basically spied on them. Okay, here's one. Okay, here's the episode. This is Sam Richards, episode titled "I Spied the Spy Planes." Here we go. So I guess just start by telling me this: how did you first get your hands on the Sky Spy stories? How did you first discover this?
Sure. I was working at the Minneapolis International Airport at the time. As a
pilot, as a luggage guy. What were you doing?
Luggage guy.
Luggage guy. Okay.
For a little airline, we did all the different stuff that we had to do. But one of the people that I worked with, I became friends with, and he stumbled on something online, just like a registration website that had tail numbers, and then names of who those planes were registered to. And at the very bottom of that page, it had 2 planes that were registered explicitly to the Department of Justice.
Okay.
And so from that, it looked really fishy because all the company names were just like 3 letters and then the like research or something.
Now, were these like marked planes that said like U.S. government on it or something like that?
No, that was the whole point. It was all Cessnas for the most part and a couple helicopters. But they were all just, the most common planes you see.
Okay.
And usually 1 or 2 pilots, I think. And so...
Are these like the ones you see like in the movies, like the classic drug running type planes? Oh, of course.
It's always bumpy and there's rain or something. Yeah, it's a rough landing.
Right. Boston George sitting at the co-pilot seat. Yeah.
And so then after that, I think there was around 50 or so planes on that webpage. I looked up the names of these companies, and none of these companies proved to be real. They weren't on Secretary of State websites. But then on aviation websites like FAA.
What do you mean? Hold on. What do you mean by not real? Like they were
just fronts. They're front companies. They existed on paper, and that's it. It was explicitly for the purposes of just registering these planes, and providing a tiny layer of secrecy. Because once you...
And how did you confirm that? I mean, how do you know that's...
So any business that exists will have records, and you can go to like the Secretary of State. For most states will have a way to access public listings.
Okay.
So you can see like who registered a company, how many employees it has, what kind of business it is technically, and addresses and phone numbers. And all these companies, quote unquote, that I ran across they exist on Secretary of State websites like that. They wouldn't be on Google Maps. So what they were effectively was just somebody filling out paperwork, an FBI agent, checking off the boxes with the FAA to make sure that everything was, official on paper. But it wouldn't say like this was registered to the FBI if you typed in the tail number, if you saw it.
Do you remember what the companies were? What the big companies were? Was it like Acme Government Assassins or something like that, or was it?
It might as well have been, because on that one page, the first page we found, it was all things like FVX Research. There was Northwest Aircraft Leasing Co., which was one of my favorites. And then there was other ones like all just 3 letters. I think PSL Surveys, which was a little more clever. But yeah, just things like that. Like Acme is not far. And then, from there, searching for more tail numbers registered to those company names led the number from around the low 60s to over 100. And now it's well over 115 at least.
And then they were all based at this airport here in the Twin Cities?
No. The way it works now that we know is each field office, and there's, I think it's probably about 6 to 8 field offices for the FBI. I should probably check that later, but the field offices kind of have reign over a certain number of aircraft is how it looks. And the one over the Twin Cities, that one was flying over Southdale Mall, and then different parts, I think other parts of South Minneapolis too. But that one, still don't really know what exactly that plane was doing.
Okay.
Even though it's been a few years.
All right. Yeah, I need to... First, how long have you been... When did this start? Give me that. When did you first... What year was it when you first discovered this?
That was May... I published the story, I think, May 25th of 2015.
Okay.
So late May for sure. And then the Associated Press came out about a week or a week and a half later, early June, with the piece basically confirming everything I said earlier.
Okay. So we're working on 3 years on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's slow moving. That's like later on when we get to the version 2 of the story, I guess you could call it. You'll see it takes a long time to get these documents, but so yeah, it's all mostly Cessnas. There's a couple helicopters, but now a lot of my research was just based off of plugging in the tail numbers to see where they had been, and then literally just posting those screenshots on Twitter. Talking about like if something was similar or like there was word in other news places of like a drug raid in that part of town, and then trying to cross-reference that. And that was mostly on these flight tracking websites, which have since kind of turned dark on a lot of the FBI planes. But you can still sometimes see a few of them, and a lot of DHS has a bigger fleet of aircraft, and you can see them on there. But yeah, it's kind of clamped down, so now it's mostly all FOIA-based research.
Now, why did you start looking up these planes? Was it observing them flying? Was it what brought your attention to the planes themselves? Did I miss that?
Oh, sorry. No, not at all. I mean, basically too, like, a lot of this started on Twitter. So, the same time that I got the document that showed these weird companies and their aircraft, somebody else was talking about just this plane, the one that was circling Southdale. Okay. And it was weird because this was all kind of coming around at the exact same time, which is interesting. But so then I was posting this research of, like, here's these shady tail numbers, hashtag FBI Sky Spies, here's where they've been, and people were pushing me to put this piece together. And so it all kind of fell in my lap, and I put an article on medium.com. And since then, other media obviously picked it up. The article went viral, and it's led to a lot of other kind of investigations. But yeah, it was just strange because then obviously a week later, the Associated Press came out with their piece that they told me they were working on for months prior. So there was a lot of weird time synchronicities, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, it was a collection of other people too, like people on Twitter that saw the plane, I who got the document and then did the research to uncover these companies, and then obviously other news organizations since. So yeah, I don't know if that answers.
Yeah, no, I'm processing it all and trying to, because, I know the story and I'm trying to, remember what I know of it again. So outside of, tracking the planes and them being suspicious, I mean, what was the next level for you? I mean, after that, after you found these planes were attached to these government agencies, you found that they were, kind of being, like attached to these shady fake corporations. What did you do from there? I mean, what was your story? Was your story just based on these planes? Hey, there was these planes, or did you look deeper into what are these planes doing?
Oh yeah.
Okay, and how did you get that information, and what did you find out?
So since, because you said it was May of 2015, so we did actually this independent story that I put out just by myself. It turned into North Star Post, and I met a couple people that helped me do research through FOIAs. And other people afterwards got really good FOIAs out too, like the ACLU, Electronic Frontier Foundation. And through that research, we were trying to figure out what the equipment on board was. Because I speculated originally that it was probably a Stingray, which people know now is like a cell phone snooping device. And also, years before the FBI story, there was reporting on this company in Dayton, Ohio, that used military-grade optical, just like video surveillance that was developed for the war in Iraq, and obviously deployed it for policing in Ohio. So I knew that this advanced imaging existed and they could put it on drones or blimps or small planes. And then also that the Stingrays, if the plane flies low enough, it's an effective surveillance tool. So I knew all these things existed. And then with the records that we found from the FAA and elsewhere, just literally open records research online, you could put the puzzle pieces together. And so now the FBI released video from a plane they had over the Freddie Gray protests, which was kind of shocking to see. Here it's a casual whatever Friday afternoon, the FBI is releasing video of a protest they flew over with their spy plane, and it didn't ruffle all that many feathers.
Right.
But again, through FOIA research, we know that they do deploy these MC Catcher Stingray cell phone spying tools pretty often. But they've been quiet on the visual side, other than releasing some videos here and there that look a lot like helicopter video, which everybody's seen, but not so much of the more advanced imaging things, which I think maybe will come later on when we get more FOIAs out. But
when you say advanced imaging, what do you know as far as capabilities? What have you confirmed as far as what can this imaging system do from a plane flying over a city area like the Twin Cities here?
Yeah.
What can they see? What are their capabilities?
The statistic I remember was a system called Argus,
okay,
which that's for drones, and it was developed for IEDs and detecting that in the war zone, and then just keeping a plane above for 8 or 12 hours at a time sometimes, and just looking at all of the activity below. So the military purpose was that if a bomb goes off, you just wait and you follow that back to before the explosion and see who the last person there was, and then follow them to their safe house. And so using that for policing here, it was the Dayton, Ohio example, but also border security and, search and rescue sometimes. Argus, the early version, it could capture everything within a 32 square mile radius.
Jesus.
Yeah, which is, I think, like a mid-sized city probably. And
So instead of a bunch of little cameras on every corner
Yep.
catching stuff, it's one camera catching everything
Yeah.
in one lens.
or even the weird thing too, the technology is really simple. Like the Argus, the first version, had something like a couple dozen cell phone cameras just put onto a processor chip and then, obviously concealed in the aircraft. And with that pretty common technology, they got that 32 square mile area covered.
Right.
So people walking, cars, even birds, like they were complaining about. And now, there's also FOIA kind of evidence that shows that they're thinking about, or even deploying license plate readers on some of the lower flying aircraft or drones. And yeah, when you combine that data with everything else that's, a regular city has or a regular police agency has, it really is Orwellian.
Right.
Because you have location tracking in your pocket with your cell phone.
My first thing is like,
recognition.
how many times have they seen me masturbate? That's my first.
If people knew that about themselves, we would have a revolution, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be the one thing that's going to set it off.
What?
They don't
The
care about our rights.
database?
You just can't jerk off in your car and privacy anymore. What kind of America has this become?
Right.
Holy shit, man!
Hey, if that's what it takes, I mean, let's get that
Right,
information.
that
out.
would be the thing. When did Revolution 2 start over? Oh, we were jerking off and they were watching us.
We
Just
warned you
ruined
guys.
It ruined it for everybody. Holy shit! So, again, next step from this. Now, the equipment. Did you ever get a confirmation from the agencies through the Freedom of Information Act, as far as them saying, yeah, we've got this equipment on these planes?
If I don't want to misremember this because it's been a little while, but I believe the MC catcher related information was either the FBI or the U.S. Marshals admitting to like 8 to 10 times that they used cell phone snooping on the planes. But that's a pretty big admission because they keep these devices so secretive that they'd, rather get rid of court cases than admit that that was the source of the info. Because then that could lead to court discovering things. But I suspect, and this is speculation, but I'm pretty confident that they used them more regular than they admitted. And any admission was big. But yeah, we know that they use dirt boxes, which are made by, I think, Boeing, and then Harris Corporation obviously makes the Stingrays.
What's the dirt box? I haven't heard of that
It's
one.
like the same thing. It's just another brand of this device.
Okay.
They're all kind of just like ruggedized laptops that you flip open, and it looks like a spy briefcase, sort of. Or even, it can even just look like a server rack from what I see in pictures. But they're proliferating. Stingray is just a brand name, but they have a bunch that are specialized for the mission. And the Intercept has a good catalog of these things that they got from a leaker that shows, like, if you need to fly above a protest crowd, use this one. Or, like, if you're looking for this type of satellite phone, you should buy this one and put it in your plane.
Who are the companies manufacturing this?
The major ones, Harris Corp is the big one.
What else do they make?
They make a bunch of different of these MC catchers, but I don't know about a lot of their other business. I knew at one point, but I can't. Nothing's popping up to my head right now.
Okay.
Mostly just shadowy kind of stuff for military and police contractors.
Right.
Yeah, I think they were the pioneers, probably the first people that made an MC catcher that worked. So that's why they're more known with the Stingray. But this might be too in the weeds for people.
Right. So at what point do you start making contact with the agencies themselves, and what kind of interactions are you getting from them? What kind of responses? What kind of...
I haven't really reached out to them for much in a while because I usually don't get anything of substance, or what I do get, you can, tell is not what you're really looking for. But after the FBI story, a few months later, I confirmed a really similar story about the DEA. Because people knew that the DEA had these planes or similar for overseas stuff, but I'd never seen a news story exposing their fleet that's used domestically. And I called a DEA, sort of like an aviation chief. I don't know his official title right now, but I got his hangar is what happened. And then he called my cell phone because I left it with somebody, and he was really upset. he's like, "Why are you calling my pilots? What's going on?" And, like, he was swearing a little bit, and I just, I was recording the call, obviously. So
he was upset that somebody was investigating him, huh?
Right.
Oh, weird.
And
weird
I
how that
stumbled
works,
upon
huh?
his phone number on like an NTSB crash report or something. So,
oh, sweet.
yeah. Or like, it might have even been a more public place online, but I got the
bathroom
hanger.
wall for a good time.
Yeah.
Call Bob at the DEA.
He's got a plane.
Right.
No, then he got pissed off at me, and I knew that, talking to these people wouldn't be the most fruitful activity. You're supposed to, as a journalist, obviously get a comment, but a lot of times they just don't
Did
return
you record
it.
the conversation?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I would love to hear that. I'm getting all fucking
I'll have to
feisty.
find it, but yeah, it was a classic
I'll make
in
it
my
my
head.
ringtone. That'd be fucking awesome.
And then I actually did talk with the DEA aviation head, like the guy of the whole HQ.
Right.
And he was really cordial and great on the phone. I think they wanted to show that it wasn't a shadow operation necessarily. It was just something that wasn't slammed in the public's face.
Right.
But they've had planes crash in Colorado and stuff, and they would send the local police to run out with blankets and throw the blanket over the tail number. So there was a level of, we don't want the public to know, but we're not going to, like, classify this super hardcore. So it's funny because...
Okay, well, here's a question. Did you ever look into why those planes crashed?
That one... Okay, so that one was outside somewhere in Colorado, somewhere in Denver, I think. But they had a local county drug task force guy and a DEA pilot. And I think it was just like a mechanical failure in the engine. Because they survived. The plane was totaled, I believe, but no one was super injured. And it was pretty much a crash at the airport. Okay. So, like, you could, the cops could find where to be. But a news chopper arrived, and you could see these guys running out with a blanket and throwing it over the tail.
No shit.
Which was kind of funny. So then doing the actions like that, that's what I was trying to get at. Like, not even classifying, but coming up with fake companies that you can find online with just cursory research and sending people to run over and conceal something, that's just going to draw more attention to your operation. And then when you come out later and say that it's not a secret, you don't have that narrative.
It's not a secret, but we're doing everything to keep it a secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's wacky. I mean, there's too much
shady as hell.
secrecy in this country. Like,
when did I know you did, but when you got to the question of, how does this constitutionally, how does this work as far as illegal search and seizure, and as far as you're spying domestically on U.S. citizens with no warrant?
Yeah.
Did you ask that question? Who did you ask that question to?
Yeah.
It's what kind of answers did you get?
I'm glad you asked that, because that's a whole nother line that we could go down for a while too. But they always come up with authorities, obviously. Like, in these FOIAs, we can go over some of those if it's interesting, but it says like under executive order, blah, 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 or this is relevant to statute, 10 U.S. code. And what I found in my research, it was frustrating because a lot of the times they justify warrantless aerial surveillance, such as with a police helicopter, based off of a Supreme Court decision from the 1980s. And that one is different from another terrible one that I'll get into in a second. But the one that says you don't need a warrant for aerial surveillance is because there was a police helicopter flying really low, and a guy was growing marijuana in his shed in his backyard, and he had some pretty big property. But because there was a hole in his roof and the copter could just see into the area and see the plants, they had a whole case in court, trying to get it dismissed based off of constitutional grounds.
Well, see, that's plain natural sight.
Yes, but that's the
plain
basis,
natural capability.
That's the basis for why they say you don't need a warrant for aerial surveillance now.
But when you're talking about augmented sight,
yeah,
with technology that's beyond the scope of human capabilities, where you can see literal miles at
or
the
infrared.
precision or infrared or the precision of a microscope, and
yeah.
That's different. That's like putting a camera through somebody's window and then looking into their...
Yeah, it really is. I mean, the whole point of the Fourth Amendment was secure your domain from searches. And now we do have the technology, and the last update to this law was in the 80s. So somehow aerial surveillance hasn't really come up, probably because they're keeping it mostly secret until recently.
They want to keep it dumb and out of date because then it
Yeah.
doesn't keep up with the technology.
Yep. And there's, with a totally different story, not related to aviation, but locally there's a thing happening like that with cell phone surveillance based out of Hennepin County. And that might be something for another episode, but there's
What's the basics of that? Just to...
It's funny. It's another small company based in Texas that uses a subscription service that intelligence analysts can log into at their workstations, their computers. Mm-hmm. And it's like $5,000 a year. It's really cheap, and it's used all over the country. And you can process cell phone records that you get from a cell phone carrier without a warrant based off of what's called an administrative subpoena. So it's just a form letter. It just says that the information that we're asking AOL or AT&T for is relevant to an investigation, period. Judges don't see it. And then once they get that information from like Verizon or whatever, they put it into this device and it processes it in like a second. So you can see, one person's cell phone records, or if you just have a bunch of phone numbers, you can see how those people associate. And obviously, with like Black Lives Matters, pretty confrontational towards the police. My worry is that this is being used to network map the entire protest group without having it ever pass a judge's eyes first. And Jesus. Yeah, and they rely on the administrative subpoena law, which was actually fixed in 2015. But we know that they haven't followed through on actually complying with that 2015 update, because part of that law said that if anybody was ever exposed to a surveillance device as part of a criminal investigation, 90 days after that ended, whether or not there were charges, that person has to be notified in the mail. And no one's ever gotten any of these notifications in the state. So we know that they're not following the law, and therefore they're using the administrative loophole to get everybody's cell phone records.
Jesus.
Yeah. So like it's on a national level, there's lawless surveillance. Obviously unconstitutional, but strictly lawless according to the government's own laws, and the state and local level too.
Right.
So, when people see police brutality, obviously that's really visceral and it's in your face. And surveillance is a very large government action against many people that you just don't see. So there isn't that outrage, but it's more lawless than I think a lot of people realize.
This is like, and the Snowden stuff is coming to mind now, which is a lot more complex degree of spying on U.S. citizens, where this, in comparison, is more of a
easy to digest. Sort of.
Yeah, but when you look at them two together, like you're spied on from every single angle.
Yeah, like find some data you exist that is completely untouched. And I don't think people could, unless you're some like super encryption, nut, which even those guys take a break every once in a while and slip up. So,
and also you use Black Lives Matter as an example, and I can imagine there's a large percentage of people that automatically are going to respond, well, fuck them.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about their things. They're a problem. They're wrong. Whatever. Well, if you want to think that way, I don't think that way. But then simply apply it to anything else. You're a union employee for a major aerospace company, and you go on and you begin a protest. You guys go on strike.
Yeah.
Imagine,
or it could even be something not political at all. You could just be a key person at like a network administrator. They're targeted all the time by surveillance efforts because they have access to systems that the NSA thinks they might want to use in the future.
Right.
And it's everybody, all sectors of people. Yeah. Sorry,
No. I think a general way to look at it is anytime a company is involved and you want to stand up for your rights or your safety or environmental issues or anything like that, and a company is involved that can lose money, okay? Government and corporations are so hand in hand right now.
Yeah.
It's so easy for me to see, well, hey, let's call our friends over here at the CIA or the FBI and have them go investigate, and go look at who's doing this and who's doing that, help cover the tracks or find out who's looking into this, and it snowballs quickly as the possibilities of where all this information is being collected and then how it's going to be used and how it can be used against you so easily.
Yeah.
And I've had so many people, so many friends that I'm not doing anything wrong, nothing for me to worry about, I don't jerk off in my car like you do, Joey, but whatever. you think that until you put into a situation where this stuff applies.
Yeah.
And it can happen, the blink of an eye.
And plus, apply that, I think, stupid standard that I hear all the time, too, to, like, the First Amendment. Like, oh, I don't have anything interesting to say, so I don't care if I ever have the ability to say anything interesting or speak. And people wouldn't do that. And plus, everybody has something to hide. There's information about you in the universe that you don't want anyone else to know. And if there's a group of people collecting as much blackmail on all of us as possible, that should freak everyone out. Because what happens, like you said, when it's your turn?
Right.
In the future, something might piss you off.
But that was the thing I was always concerned about with the Snowden revelations was it's not so much of, me or you or anything like that, but they're spying on everybody. They're spying on politicians of every level.
Yep.
Right?
Your grandparents, like...
Yeah. Well, my thing is if all these politicians that you want to... Well, let's pretend that they're, moral and ethical and they're trying to really help us, right? Well, they've got skeletons in their closet as well, too. Mm-hmm. Well, if those get exposed and somebody gets a record of the things that they're doing, then they become easily manipulated at that time.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you like sucking dicks in the closet, Mr. Congressman? Well, guess what? If you don't do this in this kind of way, then we're going to expose that and everybody's going to know it. And guess what? He's going to be, doing things to cover up his dick sucking. So it's just the way it is.
And that sounds kind of like a tinfoil conspiracy, but that's in their own documents that Snowden provided. The NSA talks about doing that to other countries.
Right.
And they also talk about doing that during like major UN negotiations. So obviously they're going to do it to our politicians to get their power secured.
Or why wouldn't power struggles within the government itself? Because it's not like they're in there just holding hands and everybody's getting along.
There was
the government agencies are at competition within themselves. I mean, different branches of military are in competition with each other. It's not. Oh, it's disgusting. It's scary. It's terrifying. Is what it is. So, what do we know for fact? Is going back to the beginning of this, the sky planes in the sky. If you just want to look at the ones just flying here in the Twin Cities, what can you say for a fact? Were they looking at what information can you say for a fact has been collected? Any of that you confirm 100%? Is there anything egregious or anything that would be?
I mean, it's difficult because it takes
records
forever.
of it anywhere. Is there any?
I'm pursuing like flight logs and flight strips, but that FOIA is taking an incredibly long time.
Okay.
It kind of feels like it won't be resolved without like a federal FOIA lawsuit, which I don't know I would like to pursue right now. But we do know generalities about the mission types that they take, like even things like counter-drug operations, which people don't necessarily think the FBI or a spy plane, but they're also counter-terror investigations, or what they label counter-terror investigations, because that's just cover for them flying over Dearborn, Michigan a lot, which has like the highest population of Arab Americans in the country. And also, I'm kind of trying to remember specific cases, but it's mostly just kind of like counter-drug and quote-unquote national security things from what I can gather.
Has there ever been that you found at least a case where one of these planes has prevented something, or that's on record, or made a substantial arrest of anything?
Well, I guess you could say that, because they
saw a cat in a tree, something that positive. Is any of that stuff anywhere?
I mean, it depends on how you look at the things, but like with in Ferguson, they had these planes above, and they were providing, I'm sure the Fusion Center in St. Louis, along with other people, the intelligence to, I guess, police either you call it riot or protest. And that's obviously brings up constitutional concerns too. But yeah, it's hard to say exactly what's going on, because it's easy to keep secrets when they're above you, and they keep it away from journalists. Yeah, I'm looking into it, and I'm thinking in the next couple of years there'll be more references to this type of surveillance now that it's public information in court documents and things. But yeah, you don't run across that all that often. So they kind of clamp down on the whereabouts of these planes pretty successfully in the last couple of years. We've even seen evidence that they're re-registering the aircraft with different tail numbers.
Do you think this is a response to the work that you've done?
I do, yeah, because for years and years you could see the flight tracker or flight radar 24, just the map where the plane is, and then shortly maybe
describe that just so people know exactly what you were looking at, because this is an app that you can put in a tail number of a plane.
Yep.
Right, and then that will show on is it real time or just
both. I really like Flight Radar 24 for historical data.
Okay.
But you can do both. Like, you can see where your folks are flying to Cancun or something. You can track that plane in real time, and it is real time, which is impressive.
Okay.
And then also, if you have different levels of subscription on some of these websites, you can go back like 30 or 60 or 90 days.
Okay.
And that was really helpful too, because I do weekly reports showing like this is where all of them were the last week. Like, if they were above your house, email me, kind of thing. And barely 6 months, I want to say, after these reports, they started pulling them from the website. Not Flight Radar. It could also just be that they're not filing flight plans with the FAA, so that data doesn't come from the air traffic control towers to the website. But they've obviously been interested in keeping this off of those websites, because they would say you shouldn't do this, or I can see them saying you shouldn't do this because it would endanger an active operation type of thing. But if you're flying in a plane above somebody for hours, that's visible most likely. And B, if you're broadcasting on the, electromagnetic spectrum and someone can pick it up, you can't tell someone that information needs to be kept secret, because it's just out there,
Right.
So they've started in the last couple of years changing their operations and making it more shadowy, which I don't see the point in that now, because it's all public. So
Right.
maybe they have a ton of new planes that they want to hide. I don't know.
Could be. So after you got all this information, you put the story together on Medium. What'd you do after that? Did you contact any other press outlets?
Yeah. In those early days too, a lot of times it would just be people seeing the story or the tweets, because those were going viral for some time. Excuse me. But yeah, I would get requests from people on like.
Did you get? I'm sorry. On the tweets, did you anybody of any, position or credibility take note of these and retweet you or give you a star or anything like that? It'd either be media or a famous person or anything like that.
Yeah,
interact with you on this.
I got to give a lot of credit to. I don't know how this slipped my mind until now, but Glenn Greenwald was one of the first people.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I think he's probably the reason I got a lot of requests from media for like radio and TV interviews initially. Because that was Esme Murphy's a reporter with CBS locally here, and I think that's what she said in her report caught her eye about the story. Because her lead-in was something like, the Associated Press reported this, but somebody beat them to the punch, and it was a local guy. So, yeah, and I think that's Glenn Greenwald's tweet was what got it. So, yeah, there's a lot, and he's kind of a villain now. But Ajit Pai, the FCC commissioner,
right?
He cited this tweet. He quote tweeted me, I think, and said, like, this is a great example of, open access to information and citizen journalism.
Right.
Which I quote tweeted back to him recently because of the net neutrality stuff.
Right.
Saying something snarky like, I thought you were a fan of open internet.
What happened to this, buddy?
Yeah.
What happened?
Times change quick.
Right. So, I'm sorry. Go back to what you were saying about, the contacting media and all that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the interviews and things were early on. There was some good interviews on Fox locally. And then also just write-ups on a lot of kind of blogs, like mostly techie blogs and things. But yeah,
what was the general take and the general attitude towards the story?
It was really supportive.
Okay, so, I mean, as far as what you guys were talking about, was it like, this is some bullshit? Or this is some conspiracy shit, or is this
there was some
everything's
of that.
Fine here, nothing to see here. What was the general take from these the media outlets?
From the media outlets, it's really supportive because they like to see investigative reporting. Some people, I think,
I can't believe they can even recognize it, knowing the media that I.
Well, that's why they were happy to, because they're a lot of those outlets aren't doing it themselves.
What's he doing? Oh, it's journalism. What? Oh, okay. I thought we were just supposed to sell shit. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've been frustrated with some of the coverage and a lack of coverage on stories I've uncovered since then. But yeah, it was supportive. People are always, especially people that I think are in the right mindset, but maybe constrained institutionally, I'll say, are super supportive, and they're like, yeah, I wish we could do more stories like this, or, keep digging up the stuff and we'll help you where we can. But our editors or associate producer or whatever is more interested in local stories, and it has to be like...
Well, let me give you a hint, guys. You know how you do more stories like that? You just fucking do it, and if they say you can't do it, you quit.
Yeah.
And then everybody quits, and everybody walks the fuck out. And you stand on your fucking morals, and you stand on your ethics, and you actually do something, and you maybe start your own thing, like North Star.
Yeah.
And then, and you do actual journalism for a change instead of just worrying about your damn paycheck and all that stuff. But who am I? I don't know. I have a neck tattoo. Whatever. But anyway, I'm sorry. I get just the state of media in general just is disgusting to me, and that they want to pretend that they wish they could do something, and they want to. Okay, fuck you. You just want to keep the checks coming in.
Yep.
So, tell me about the AP though. The AP went like they broke the story, right?
Yeah, they still. Last I saw it, I think they still have it labeled as like an expose, sort of, as if they're the first to it. But I mean, even before me, the Wall Street Journal put up a story about one of the planes that was circling, and I think that one was tracked back to the U.S. Marshals. But the reporting ended there. It was just one plane, a federal agency, no interest in pursuing the leads that were literally there if you just looked into the tail numbers. And then a little bit after that, no heavy reporting. And then I put out my piece that had all the tail numbers, correctly identified the FBI, speculated on what gear they had on board, which was proved true from the Freedom of Information Act requests like a couple years later.
So that is confirmed then. I
was heavy in the initial report talking about stingrays and also the optical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The stingrays have been verified.
Okay.
And I'm still thinking that they're used more than the verification says, because obviously they didn't want to spill all the beans.
Right.
And yeah, then like when you brought up tinfoil or trolls, kind of like when the week that I had the story up and it was going viral with the tweet images going viral on Twitter too, people were saying that it was all conspiracy mumbo jumbo, including some like people that write for some important places that I don't want to name.
Right.
And then when the AP story came out and quote unquote confirmed it,
then all of a sudden it's credible now.
Right. And they were like, oh, I guess you were right the whole time. I shouldn't have said this.
Did they actually say that?
Like people were pretty good. I mean, there's a couple people that were like, oh, spilling the national security beans, like whatever, libtard. But for the most part, people were really cool about it because they saw like a young guy.
Like how hard would it be to maybe just take time to read the story and confirm the information that he's giving you, because you can do it on your own. It's right there. Use the goddamn app.
I know, and that was a hang up for me too, because like there was people that were fighting on behalf of me with one of the editors at the AP, and he was saying stuff like, oh, his reporting was speculation. He never like reached out to the FBI for comment, or I can't remember what another argument was, but they were basically saying that my work was speculation, but everything I said was something that was proven true in their article, which they initially linked to in one of the first paragraphs. And then when people got upset, they started taking that away. So now the version is just without that link, but I still have at least a week ahead of them, and it was true. And it was viral, and other media were reporting on it for that week. So it's not like, I don't know. I kind of get the sense that their investigation was going on for a long time before mine was,
right?
Which I totally believe. You know, they have a lot of resources, a lot of people. They were thorough. Their piece was longer. But I think when I put out my story, they got frantic and maybe pushed it quick so that people wouldn't have been like, well, this has been up for a month.
Right.
So it was the next week. So that was kind of rough. And I said things online that I probably shouldn't have said because I was pretty pissed off. But yeah, I mean, they've done respectable reporting on aerial surveillance since, and besides, you know, the work that me and my friends do on North Star Post and the Associated Press, there's not been a lot of like resources devoted to this.
Okay.
And one exciting update was a speech that me and my colleagues Jared and Jason from North Star Post gave at DEF CON, which was awesome in itself. But we released code that went through all these flight websites. Specifically like ADSB Exchange, which is kind of a amateur network So it's getting
I'm
data.
not sure. Tell me what that is.
So flight radar, that uses data from the FAA, from air traffic control. So that's more of like an official kind of flight tracker. ADS-B Exchange relies on people that build their own receivers and antennas that get information right from the plane.
Okay.
And then that's fed into a map online. So I like to use both to cross-reference. And so we released a code to go through that data on ADS-B Exchange, and if a plane turns right or left, like 12 times, it's flagged. And then the code looks through it to see if it actually is a legitimate surveillance flight that's just circling. I'm saying all this to get to the point that it wasn't hard to do these things, and most of it was done for free in spare time. So, like, you were ragging on the media, and that's, I don't think, far off, because filing FOIAs or local public records requests is really easy. And you might have to wait a while, or you might have to have some inside knowledge about what you're researching, but just doing it doesn't require much effort or training at all. And so when, like, the Star Tribune, they have hundreds of reporters that could be filing these requests all day, every day, that would get a lot of original stories out, but it's not happening for whatever reason.
Wow. Okay. Let's jump from this then. Let's move on to get everybody kind of up to date now of what you're working on now, which is almost like a part 2 to this story.
Yeah.
But it's like a higher level, and
right.
and when I mean higher level, it's like a much higher level, like a out in outer space level, orbiting level. So what's going on now with your work in this spy? Now it's like not Sky Spies, it's Space Spies now, right?
I like that. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we'll go with.
Not to be confused with Trump's Space Force, but maybe it is. I don't know.
Oh, we should do an episode on Space Force sometime.
That would be.
It is like the next level. It's basically version 2. That's what I was thinking when I requested the documents, which I just noticed now. I put in this request on July 15th of 2016, and I got it in the mail around July 20th of this year, 2018.
So was that 2.5 years?
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a while, but I mean, I'm happy this came out because I thought this was one of those. I put in a lot of requests that are very specific towards things I don't think they want people to know, and this was one of them. And I was just surprised that people called me and like, hey, we need to get some more information, and we're actually going to process this. And then it came, which I didn't think it would, so that was cool.
So who calls you? Who are you talking to when you're doing that? Just out of curiosity, what's
this one? I believe I emailed somebody at the National Reconnaissance Office.
So it's the actual agency is the one who's doing the processing. It's
sort of. I think they had a third party do it.
Okay.
Which it depends on the agency how they process it, but that time I'm fairly certain it was like a contractor.
Okay.
But obviously related really closely to the government. So,
right. And explain for the people who are listening who only watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians, what is the agency and what are they responsible for?
That would be the National Reconnaissance Office, NRO for short, which the agency or whatever itself was classified until 1992. I think they started in the early 60s, and it was basically just, the people that kind of run and maintain all the spy satellites. So obviously the Cold War, there was a lot of imaging and other kind of snooping satellites to see what the Russians were doing. But now there isn't a Cold War, and we still are launching. I think there's 2 planned NRO launches this year. Some of them say like for electro-optical surveillance, others say signals intelligence, but it's all more spy tools. And the NRO is like a quasi-military civilian agency that works with NSA, FBI, CIA for anything you could think of that you would government operation would need satellite intelligence for. So they give, battle reports and things to the military. They look at disaster zones to support like FEMA. They were really interested in weapons of mass destruction overseas and tracking that kind of stuff. But then on their website, the NRO.gov, I think,
okay.
It said something along the lines of, in the About Us section, I believe, but we work with FBI, DOJ, DHS, Department of Treasury, the DEA, and civil agencies. And that last part in particular is what caught my eye, because...
It's law enforcement, right?
Yep. Okay. Yeah, any kind of law enforcement. I mean, or other things even. could be covered by civil agencies. So I put in the request using basically the wording on their website to see what these documents were. And like, what is your partnership? What are the memorandums you have between all these groups? And they came back with, they say in the FOIA that there's 6 things they could release. One of them is still pending review from Homeland Security because it applies to them. But they go into detail about some nitty-gritty stuff about, telecommunications support for the FBI. But they also say they use satellites for counterintelligence operations and also to protect critical national assets. So that obviously means...
Like all the Walmarts? Is that
yeah, exactly. It does talk about how that is a flexible kind of term. So I think the director of national intelligence decides something is critical, that will be covered.
Okay.
So, the political pendulum swings left and right, and intelligence agencies' orders do as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if, one of the critical national assets were like the Keystone Pipeline,
right,
or, Enbridge in Minnesota, because you have a powerful enough satellite, you can be spying on a bunch of different targets at once. And then you just feed that information to a fusion center or like.
So I would assume other things like all nuclear reactors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything that would be high threat targets.
Yep, even banks. Yeah, they say like it's anything that's like a dam or a infrastructure like for transportation. Some other weird things that I'm not remembering too, but like harbors.
Right. And
technically, a harbor could be like a major part of San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a more in-depth document that I didn't think would be released either was a thing about Buckley Air Force Base. They have I think it's called an aerospace data sharing facility.
Is that named after F. Lee Buckley? Is that? It just would seem appropriate. I don't know.
I don't know. Wait, what is that reference? I don't get that one.
F. Lee Buckley, there was a conservative writer. He had the...
it might be.
I don't know. It seemed like his type of thing.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, this place, it's a part of a aerospace facility or an airbase in Colorado. And on their Wikipedia page, it says that they have 850 NSA personnel. But this document that I got released says that they're working with...
My dog is attacking him right now. Sorry.
No, you got to stay down
Bentley,
there.
come here, buddy.
Oh, he wants to get on the show.
Bentley, you can't be on the mic. Come here, buddy.
Something.
Come here. Bentley, come.
He's friendly, though.
Bentley.
You
Come
can
here.
stay there.
You gonna stay there?
That's not me scratching.
No.
Where was? Oh yeah, so the aerospace facility. They also work with Homeland Security, the FBI, NSA, and the CIA on processing all kinds of satellite intelligence. And the FBI documents, as well as the Homeland Security documents in here, show that they're interested in domestic targets, including what they call like foreign counterintelligence operations, which obviously some of that foreign intelligence takes place like in Russia or wherever, China. But, if you're protecting national assets at home, some of that's going to be here too.
Right.
And people kind of got in an outrage when they found out that the NSA was scooping up Americans' domestic communications incidentally, quote unquote. Well, I mean, there's got to be way more incidental collection from spy satellites than those programs, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's a much bigger net. I mean, it's just the accidental stuff is there.
Yep, all kinds of it.
It's funny, like whenever there's something like you pick your police shooting because there's so many to choose from.
Right.
Even here in the Twin Cities, that you never have like a spy plane fly over at that time.
Yeah.
Where's the video of that?
No kidding.
When the lady got shot in the alley.
Yeah.
Or God.
That's like body cams too.
Yeah.
They wanted
the cops don't want cameras on them, but boy, the government agencies, they want cameras on us everywhere.
And the latest thing too is talking about putting facial recognition in the body cams or like license plate readers too. So you're just walking on your patrol and boop, that guy's got a warrant. Boop, that car might be stolen. Boop, boop, boop. That's not really policing if you're just following what an algorithm tells you or like a giant database. I don't know. I could see how there'd be pros and cons, but it seems very forced.
Right.
And like now everybody has to have a body cam for accountability. If they have a tool and it's a surveillance thing, there are going to be a lot of cases of abuse.
Right. Holy cow.
Yeah, there's so many technologies and things. And like we're going into a golden age, I think, of this type of surveillance where we won't know for years that something was done and this huge database exists on us and our families until somebody stumbles upon it or knows to look for it or leaks the information. And it's not, people aren't becoming, they're not becoming informed quick enough for how fast the technology is developing.
Yeah, we're not smart enough to even handle the capabilities of the technology, period. Holy cow. So anything else on this new one? Is that just kind of where you're at right now with this? Is just this first layer of it? Yes,
yeah. I waited this long for, I think, good information. Some of this was top secret. Some of it relates to Talent Keyhole, if people recognize that. But this, there are emails and different keywords in here that I get to follow up on. So I think it's a slow churning machine, but it'll be interesting when we get more out too. And obviously too, like I share these documents with other news organizations and like fellow independent types too. So maybe other analysts will come across something interesting that I missed, but I'm going to write a report up, a longer form piece, because so far I've only talked about this on my radio show and now yours. But yeah, it's early on, but stay tuned, I guess.
Okay. And I'll make sure I provide links to all your stuff.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so people can check that out. Anything else about this story or the story before that we missed, or anything else that you think is critical information that people need to consider, or any other sources that people need to go look at about this? I mean, I'm so jaded and I'm so given up on the population as a whole. I mean, after the Snowden stuff and like, no one cares.
Yeah, right.
No one cares. It's like me, you, and like 10 other people that we know.
No,
give a shit,
I get
and
that
that's
feeling.
really it. And I'm at the point where it's a point of frustration.
Yeah.
Where it's like you don't care. You don't care. Whatever bad happens. Like I said, I was telling you, like the president we have right now is the one we absolutely deserve.
Yeah.
It's what we've created with our ignorance and our laziness and our laissez-faire attitude about everything that's happening around us. So we're getting what we deserve. But let's pretend for a second that we all wake up one day. What else about this is important? If you were to summarize this and you kind of put a stamp on it, why is this important? Why should people pay attention here?
A lot of reasons, but I think a really succinct way to put it, which is an angle I don't know a lot of people think about with surveillance, but all these technologies, name any of them: aerial surveillance, the stingrays that spy on cell phones, obviously the NSA's global surveillance system. They're all primarily tools of war first. And obviously, America is a pretty vast empire, but the people in the U.S. do have a lot of say over what the military does still. I mean, I'm jaded and cynical too, but if enough people wake up and realize that, like, you can contact your Congress people and, there are anti-war candidates out there, we can put a curb to a lot of this stuff. Even just expressing interest at like city council meetings, the ACLU has very good model legislation that, like the Minneapolis City Council could pursue, and it's already written, that restrains a lot of this stuff. So yeah, I mean, the information's out there. People just need to look for it. But I also kind of understand the fact that people are being barraged with a lot of crazy sensationalist info right now.
All right.
And like you said too, I also think Trump is
because we got to worry about people getting on their knees, right?
Yeah.
That's way more important, right? Because a little song is playing and a little flag is flying in the air,
right?
And somebody dares put their knee on the ground, right? That's
I know.
Way more important.
Or even on the flip side too, like liberal media getting bent out of shape every single time Trump tweets anything.
Right.
The guy, they after the election were dragging themselves through the coals about the fact that he played the media. And then after he's been in power doing the same crap, they don't learn the lesson. And it's stupid. So, I think right now America's going through a really big civics lesson.
Right.
And maybe the media isn't keeping up as much as, the people that I see organizing protests and actually doing like letter writing campaigns for midterm elections and things is pretty amazing. But, ooh, that was a long-winded tirade that I don't know where it came from, but oh yeah, what was important?
Right.
I don't know. It's just important to know that you can do a little bit of digging and uncover a lot of crazy stuff, and also that if everybody's congressperson got at least a couple letters a week about how they don't like all this surveillance going on around them, that would affect real change. And it only takes a small percentage of of an awakened population to actually get something done.
Right.
So I think the like classic is something like it was only 3% of the American Revolution.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a loaded term now too, but
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah. Again, you're holding on a little bit more faith than I am.
You have to.
I don't even think
The
there's 3%
pendulum
of this
swings.
country that's awake right now.
Yeah.
Much less it gives a shit.
Well, that's why you're back on the air though, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm just here spewing into a microphone. Trying to make people chuckle while the place burns around me. I appreciate your work, and I'm so impressed by your work, and I hope people, like I said in the intro and outro of this episode, I'm gonna make sure I scream all your contact points and stuff, and
Thanks.
And I hope people support you, and I hope that people, and I'm gonna restate this again, but I'm gonna say it here with you in front of me too. You are journalism. You are what we need. This is what it was supposed to be right here. Where you go, there's something going on. I need to look into it. I need to, check sources and do all this stuff. And you're not making money doing this, right?
No.
You're not getting any kind of fame for it, really.
No.
It's a lot of work for a lot of nothing. It's you feel it's something that you need to do. It's a calling for you to do, and it should be embarrassing to people who are cashing checks, big multi-fix 6-7 figure checks, to do and dare call themselves journalists, and are not doing a fraction of the work that you're doing. And I appreciate it, even though I think it's going to waste, because no one fucking gives a shit.
I feel the same too. In all honesty, like I get burnt out, and there's a long periods of time where I'm just like, I don't know what this is all for. Like, I obviously get the logic of putting it in the record for people in the future to use in some level. But, I mean, going back to the civics lessons thing, too, I think people are getting a bigger appreciation for investigative reporting, like actual, well-researched. Like, there are a lot of good reporters out there. I don't want to label everybody as bad, but I mean, the state of the media is pretty deplorable. But things are slow to change, but I think with enough people kind of agitated, things will start moving a little quicker. Right.
I don't know. I hope so. I hope you're right. I hope I'm completely wrong. And I hope you don't drive your Mercedes high speed into a tree.
Yeah.
So.
That's another episode for another day.
Right. I don't know. Well, thank you for your time. I want to keep having you back as much as you can. I want you to.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. No problem. And, every time you get some stories together, some things that people need to hear, I want, to bring you on and have you give them some real journalism for a change. Okay.
Well, absolutely. Thanks.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. That episode is done in the books. Those of you who did not know who Sam Richards was, now you do. Now you know who he is. Now you know about the work that he does. Now, if you didn't know about the Spies story, you do now. Wake up. If you didn't know about that, that should shock the shit out of you. It did me. Those of you who did know who he was, did know about the story, a little bit of a refresh there for you, and and also a peek into the next level of the spying, right? Yeah. Now they're satellite spying on us, which shouldn't be a surprise, right? They're launching undisclosed top secret satellites into the skies left and right. Why wouldn't they be spying on us? I don't know. Just please dig deeper into this. Go to his website, his online newspaper, North Star Post at nstarpost.com, nstarpost.com, and check out all of Sam's research on this topic. At least inform yourself, and if you don't think you're not concerned yet, dig deeper, understand more before you make that final decision if this is something you should worry about. Okay, please understand this. Okay, I think it's important. I think you should look into it. Again, nstarpost.com, nstarpost.com. If you want to follow him on Twitter at Minneapolis Sam, independent journalist Sam Richards, and he will be back again pretty soon. We've already got like I mentioned, I think in the intro, we got another episode already planned that has to do with a very tragic event surrounding an issue with the Minneapolis Police Department here in the Twin Cities that ended in a tragic suicide And I didn't want to give away too much, but it's going to be a kind of a more of a deeper episode there too. But yeah, I'm going to have that recorded hopefully as soon as he just got done moving from one place to another, so he's been pretty busy. But I'm going to get him back here in the studio hopefully within this next week, and we'll get that one recorded. And that's going to be another one that everyone wants to listen, even if you're not here from the Twin Cities, just to understand that, the capabilities and this it's going to have everything. It's going to have the examples of the bullying tactics of law enforcement, and it's going to have the failures of journalism in this story. So yeah, definitely when you see that episode pop up, and it should be here pretty soon, make sure you check that one out too. But again, nstarpost.com, letter N, starpost.com. Thank you again to my my sponsor, my one and only sponsor right now, simplewebsite.us, simplewebsite.us for all your Squarespace website building needs. They will take care of you. Also, you guys, thank you for sticking there by me and helping me, listeners. And sorry again for the not having my episodes up on time this week and last week, and again possibly next week. It's only gonna be one episode too. We'll see. I'm gonna try. But thank you for your support. Please keep liking us on subscribing to us on whatever outlet you use to listen to us. Please subscribe. Please rate and review. That stuff is all very, very important. iTunes, that's a big deal. Finally we're on iTunes, and it was amazing the jump in listenership that I got. It's literally, I'm not even exaggerating here. It's roughly 75% of the listeners come from iTunes. It's crazy. So if you can, please take time to go to iTunes. Give me that 5-star review. All right, write something positive in there for me. Help me get more exposure to the show. Help me get these numbers back up to where we once were. I really appreciate that. That's very helpful there as well too. Also, I do have there's a Filter Free America Facebook page now. I haven't promoted anything yet, just because I'm still waiting on the website to get that completed. And again, that's not the website builder's fault. That's completely my fault. I'm still waiting. I've got some new art coming and some things like that. I'm still trying to get everything to them. And a lot of it just boils down to me just only having 24 hours within a day to get things accomplished. So once that's done, then I can just direct you to the website and look, boom, everything's right here. Just go to the website, take care of everything right there. But as of right now, if you want to do anything, you have to kind of hunt and find it. We're on the Twitter. I'm on Instagram personally. And there's Filter Free America podcast page. Make sure you go to the podcast specific page on Facebook, so you can do that as well too. All right, I feel like I'm rambling now. Whatever. Thank you guys. I love you guys. Take care of each other. Love each other. Maybe consider not fighting with each other on Facebook about political things for 5 fucking minutes, and maybe just appreciate each other for the fact that you are a shared species on this tiny rock, this little piece of earth, stone and magma and water, and this floating around in this infinite universe of stars, and we're all we've got. All right, we're it. Right outside of this rock, we're it. Okay, and I don't mean it like there's no other people out there, but like we're all we've got. If shit ever goes down, right, we're all we've got as far as reaching the future. We're at to work together, right? You want to hate somebody because of the color of their skin. You want to hate somebody because of what piece of genitalia they like to suck on. Yeah, I really think if that's your mentality, you've got way too much time on your hands. You really do. Okay, stop. You're a human being. That should be the baseline for everything that we do. Every time we wake up in the morning, we should just be, human beings. And I know that's idealistic, and I know it may be silly to some of you, but god damn it, man. We're human beings before we're anything. All right? We're all on one tiny planet together. Just start from that perspective and move on from there. Okay? I love you guys. Take care of each other. Keep seeking the truth. Make sure you spade and neuter your pets and children. And I will see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.